Like, I'm 31, but I probably got the mileage of a 51-year-old. Even today, I just trained with Nicky Rod. It's a Sunday here, so I trained with Nicky Rod. A few of us were meant to show up for this training session. Only Nicky Rod showed up. So that's absolutely the worst possible thing to happen to my body, was Nicky Rod's presence on both DDS and now B-Team. He takes years off my life. But yeah, people always have these stupid fucking t-shirts and shit. Jiu-Jitsu saved my life. I guarantee you, it has ruined more lives than it's saved. People have lost relationships because of Jiu-Jitsu. They've lost jobs. Sometimes they don't even get fired from their job because they keep skipping work for training. They just think it's a great idea to quit their job and take a lower paying job so that they can train more Jiu-Jitsu. Jiu-Jitsu is not good for your body. It's bad for your back. It's bad for your neck. It's bad for your knees, bad for your elbows. And that's even if you're good. Just think about if you absolutely suck. So again, Jiu-Jitsu ruined my life would be a much more fitting t-shirt. The first time I heard this expression was in New Zealand. One of the guys that trained at City Kickboxing, Band, he always used to say that. He used to say, yeah, Jiu-Jitsu ruined my life, you know? Again, a lot of people will have high-paying career jobs and they'll downgrade their lifestyle so they can train more Jiu-Jitsu. Again, that's dumb. You might be listening to a ton of alpha male podcasts about pursuing your dreams. That's not a good idea, you know? Like, Jiu-Jitsu, probably about 5 competitors in the world make more than $100,000 a year, you know? So ask yourself, is it worth the sacrifice to get there? I'm so dumb myself that being a professional Jiu-Jitsu athlete wasn't even a career path when I pursued it.
What the fuck were you trying to do?
It didn't exist. You just would try to win a couple world championships and open up a school. That was your career path. Right now, I wouldn't even need a school. Obviously, I could just compete and do instructionals, live off sponsors, and just basically being a social media whore. I could make enough money. But like, again, that didn't exist. Gordon was probably the first real professional full-time athlete. And then I got to ride those coattails and pursue the same career. But yeah, it didn't really exist. I remember just thinking, when you're young, you're like, oh, I'd rather do a job. I'd rather do something I love and be broke than work a 9 to 5 and have a comfortable income. You know, like, that fades quick at 30. And if you didn't make it in Jiu-Jitsu by 30, your body is going to be in a lot of pain for the rest of your life, you know? That's why I have to restrict my rolling time. Anyone that's bigger than me, you can get fucked, you know? Like, I do not want to roll with you ever. I happily roll with people 25 pounds lighter than me for the rest of my life, you know? It's just an absolutely awful experience.
Yeah, those 8 a.m.s can't be fun with Heisem. Nicky should be showing up soon to those too.
I wake up every day and come to an 8 a.m. class to roll with Heisem Reader, and I can only imagine the feelings the same way if you were cellmates and it was shower time at 8 a.m. in prison and Heisem was there. Imagine you would probably come out better on the body, you know? 8 a.m. I roll with Heisem, Nicky Ryan. 12 p.m. I roll with Nicky Rod. Obviously, I've done a lot of horrible things in this life, but I feel like to have earned that, I must have done some really horrible things in a past life.
Yeah. These guys are trying to kill you as well, bro. Just wait until Heisem gets into the hang of things. You're fucking dead, eh?
Yeah, that was the worst part. I came back from 2 months away, 2 months on a absolute bender, not training, and I show back up, and Nicky Rod and Heisem are eagerly awaiting my return to try to kill me. Yeah. And honestly, I wish they would actually put the nail in the coffin and finish me off, you know?
Yeah, you keep fucking with Heisem like that. That's coming sooner than later, man.
It's coming.
He's gonna break your leg one day for sure.
Yeah, I'm one buggy choke away from death for sure. A worse death than the burglar.
Yeah, it's gotta be the stupid submissions that these guys fucking hate the most, man. To be honest with you, you really do come up with some fucked up shit. Like yesterday, you did that closed guard thing where you fucking.
Oh yeah, the close. The only way you can beat a closed guard crush is with a can opener. You gotta fight fire with fire.
Yeah, the fucked up moves, bro. The fucked up moves.
We'll finish up the podcast we'll talk more about Mo Jassim and in context in terms of his argument with Robert Drysdale. These guys go back and forth a fair bit online, actually. I feel like Drysdale loves an argument. He fucking loves an argument, and Mo doesn't really let anything go. You know, like if you throw any shade Mo's way, expect that it's going to come about online. He's going to get into a bit of beef with you. So I could be wrong, but as far as I know, the current argument is Mo is saying ADCC is responsible for pushing the sport of jiu-jitsu forward in terms of popularity. And Drysdale's argument is the IBJJF has done much more for the growth of the sport in sort of a grassroots level. That's basically the argument. And then obviously we add layers to this where they get personal, where Mo gets attacked by Drysdale because Drysdale alludes to that Mo wants to be the center of attention and stuff like that, as far as I know. And then Mo's counter argument to Drysdale is, well, yeah, you're a bad person because you faked a match at ADCC. So in terms of the fake match stuff, Marcelo Garcia was 7 submissions deep and about to go on his way to the finals against Robert Drysdale with the ADCC, the Absolute. 4 submissions in his weight division, 77 kilos, 3 submissions in the Absolute. Incredible as a 77 kilo guy. Lachlan Giles is basically, him and Marcelo are the only guys to ever do anything remotely like that in the Absolute division. However, Marcelo was on his way to the final to potentially win it, but Drysdale was able to hit him with the ass choke pretty quickly into the match, as far as I can remember, and submit him. Drysdale had a significant size advantage against Marcelo, but obviously Marcelo is Marcelo. But Drysdale had a kind of a weird match with Galvão, the match before. I'm not accusing anyone of anything because, I mean, at the end of the day, we don't know, but it did look a bit fishy, and I believe they were punished for it. I believe Galvão had to go back and do trials after that. So, I mean, ADCC are going to punish you if they think it was fake, whether it was or not. So, again, all the more incentive to fight hard against teammates and not make it look fishy. I also think Drysdale had a bias. So I think the argument was that he only had 1 real match on the way to the finals, whereas Marcelo had 3. But again, that's irrelevant to their main argument. That's just 2 guys going back personally against each other because they do not like each other. So I will say this selfishly, I think what Mo's done for the sport is incredible. Gave us the opportunity to compete in front of 15,000 people in Las Vegas. And I still even remember in California, the previous ADCC, like I remember coming out on day 2, and it was mind-blowing because it was a full crowd, and it was like, which again, you never see that, a full crowd at any sort of grappling event, for good reason. It's fucking boring, you know? But you'll see, I remember I walked out and there was like Gordon versus Barbosa, Kainan versus Buchecha, and Nicky Rod versus Cyborg. Yep. And I was waiting to go on to my match, just watching these guys in the crowd, just being like, yeah, that's probably the coolest moment in the sport for me, even cooler than the last ADCC, because it was the first of its kind. Again, it was only 3,000-4,000 people there for that one, 15,000 for the next one. But yeah, what Mo's done for competition scene is impressive, you know? Obviously, he's not responsible for all of that, but he's sort of riding the wave of it and doing incredible things with it. And just look how strong the ADCC brand is, that people are doing ADCC Opens. There's really nothing that separates the Open from a Naga, from an IBJJF, apart from the prestige of the name and people liking the rule set and wanting experience in the rule set to compete, to better prepare themselves for trials and worlds. But again, that's the power of the brand, and that's the power of the brand Mo has helped build. ADCC has a legacy, but he's been boss for a while and he's helped build that. So I will say that Mo has contributed. I believe he's hugely contributed. That's not to say IBJJF hasn't. IBJJF has developed a rule set that's the most common for competitors in the sport. They put on a good event. We talk a lot of shit about them, but they put on a good event. And it's consistent. It's everywhere. It's all around the world. It's recognizable. Everyone knows it. But I will say most people that, like for me, growth of the sport is how many people sign up for jiu-jitsu classes and go to jiu-jitsu gyms and try to learn. And I can't say many people would watch an ADCC or an IBJJF and decide to start doing jiu-jitsu. If anything, they watched a Joe Rogan podcast clip on YouTube and he spoke of the virtues of jiu-jitsu. And they thought, yeah, I'll give that a shot, you know, like Joe Rogan helped rebrand who you think does jiu-jitsu because he gave exposure to people like Eddie Bravo. I guess a lot of people, jiu-jitsu is a martial art. Oftentimes you meet a karate or a taekwondo guy back in the day, you were like, this guy's a fucking weirdo and he's probably doing this to hang out with kids. Or you imagined a UFC MMA fighter and you were like, that ain't me. But I guess Joe Rogan and Eddie Bravo exposed a different type of person. They exposed people to the idea that a different type of person participates in this sport, and that type of person is a regular Joe. You can be a regular person. That's the idea. Obviously, you show up to a jiu-jitsu gym and you're like, holy shit, none of these people have any social skills whatsoever. They're absolute weirdos. But again, most of those people are just like you. But yeah, I think Joe Rogan's probably more responsible. Yeah, and again, I can't say... No one showing up to a jiu-jitsu gym's terrifying to begin with, let alone the idea that you have never trained, you watch a competition and you say, not only I'm going to show up to a gym, I'm going to compete. Yeah. That requires some massive testicles and overconfidence, you know? Like some people assume they'll be good at jiu-jitsu for whatever reason, but very rarely do you go from no training to the goal of competing. Typically what happens is you overcome the anxiety of just entering the gym. You get comfortable there, and then still the idea of competing is very, very daunting. And if anything, a coach or someone might encourage you to do it to test yourself under a sort of a high adrenaline environment. So again, I'm not saying either of these guys is wrong or right. I'm saying they're both probably to a certain degree right, but I think personally the growth of the sport isn't related to competition. I think Mo has grown the competition scene through ADCC. More people want to compete than ever that already do jiu-jitsu because of the ADCC. But yeah, I don't know if I would agree. I think the real growth of the sport's probably from people like Rogan on podcasts and stuff.
To be honest with you, I think people get, you're always in the competition team, so you know all these guys, following the guys on social media. I would say 90% of the people who do jiu-jitsu have no idea who the top guys are, who the top competitions are. They have a fucking job. They got fucking kids, we just get caught up in since we're in that void of being in the room with the top competitors that we're like, oh shit, everybody knows everybody, but the majority of people probably don't.
Yeah, again, it's no one knows anyone. If you train at a small gym, ask some people in there, say, hey, name top 5 competition grapplers. Name competitions, name great coaches and shit. Like a lot of people just show up, it's their escape from their regular life. So they just show up, learn whatever their coach is teaching, and they just want to scrap with people they know in the gym, fight it out. It's their hobby. That's all they want to do. You could do CrossFit without caring about CrossFit athletes and studying CrossFit in your own time. Most people their lives are too busy to be absorbed with the competition scene. And again, a lot of the competitors in this sport are either assholes or boring. You know what I mean? So it's like we don't have charismatic athletes to draw these people in. Like, who cares about us? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, who gives a fuck about us? So it's like the competition scene is pretty small, Like, I would say, me personally, some people would say I have a level of fame. I would say I'm very famous within a select, tiny group of the population of socially awkward jiu-jitsu nerds, So it's like, if people recognize me in the street and stuff, if someone yells out my name in the street, I can loosely visualize what they're going to look like when I turn around, Like, it's not broad. Jiu-jitsu athletes are not famous. They're not famous. That's not real fame, No one cares about this sport too much.
And not to throw shit at ADC, the Open had as many people as IBJJF Open would have, spectator-wise. It wasn't like there was people watching and, they were sold out. It was like, it's an Open, man. It's like a Naga. They had the same amount of people in the stands that any of those tournaments do, so.
It's just a better brand. It's got a stronger brand upon being attacked by flies and how. It's just a better brand, It's a more respected brand right now. IBJJF has had a longer time to both build a brand and have things go wrong that can hurt your image, ADCC has just had trials and worlds, and they have had some ADCC rules events around the world, but nothing like the Open. The Open's massive. 1,000 competitors or some shit. That shit's crazy. But yeah, that's how we end it. Again, we're not taking sides in this argument. I think it's funny. I love watching people argue on the internet. Fuck. I love when people get emotional and argue with each other. That's the greatest gift the internet has given us, you know? And it's even a greater gift if one of the parties isn't serious and they're trolling the other one for a response. Absolutely brilliant, and we can only encourage more people attacking each other on the internet so we have something interesting to talk about.
This is point 2. We call an octopus guard. Across the board, I don't want you to think of it as a guard. It's not a guard, it's not a closed guard, it's not a half guard. It is a position that we are moving at all times. We're hitting tipping points, tilting points, we're making them chase us, hang on to us, shoot for submissions and pins that aren't really there. So again, although we're calling it Octopus Guard 2.0, try not to think of it as a guard, think of it as an ongoing scramble. That is a problem that is hard for them to solve, and we're going to have sort of answers for all the options and all the risks we take along the way.